The following program is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. You can request podcast topics, enjoy exclusive RPG and video content, and more. Even just $1 a month gets you gameplay episodes a week early and makes you officially cool. Just like our Trash Elite, a guy from Ohio, and Rob, DG, Distributed KTL, Kitty Holbrook, Thomas Austin Jr., and Passion Killer 711. Greetings and salutations. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hello.
This is the Two Nerds Podcast. Today we are reviewing 2025 and, well, at least the good parts. It was a year.
Wasn't it just?
And for more than the obvious reasons, this is probably one of the worst years of my life. But, that being said, it doesn't mean it was without joys. I had a lot of good mental health stuff this year. I started walking this year, and that was good for my physical health. I experienced so many wonderful fictional narratives, and had a lot of fun with my friends. And what else can you really ask for? Have you had ups this year?
I've had ups. And the other thing. I spent a lot of time with my friends. More time than in previous years. That was nice. I experienced some good stuff, some good media. I'm not as creative as my friend here, but I enjoy absorbing things, taking in new media. And I also got to have a lot of fun playing old stuff, which was nice. Because I'm not someone who can typically reabsorb stuff very well.
I have a problem with that too. There are exceptions, but yeah. So let's get into it. We do this every year. We don't need to talk about what's crumping. This is the crumping retrospective, basically. So video game of the year is our first category. It has been a category since we started this nonsense back in 2016. Not this podcast. It's just when we started doing the year in review. My video game of the year. Do we want to do runner-ups first?
I feel like just do honorable mention, then main.
Sounds good. Honorable mention for me, you guys aren't going to believe this. It's Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
The French again.
The French take home another one.
But just an honorable mention this time. They didn't win.
Yes. I thought it was a phenomenal game. However, the core gameplay was not something that was exactly up my alley. I had fun with it, but I didn't do like 75% of the side content because that's more of that gameplay, and that's not what I wanted out of that. I thought the characters were great. I thought the music was exceptional. I thought a lot of the environments were extraordinary. I think the acting was spectacular. The twists and turns. It gave me a new appreciation for Charlie Cox. Really, really solid game. But the winner, and I'm sure they'll be by to pick up their physical statue at any moment. We got a bunch of these kicking around. Nobody ever comes and grabs them.
Oh, well.
The winner of my video game of the year was Dragon Age Veilguard. It came out last year. Of course, the rule here on the Two Nerds Podcast is it's not necessarily something from this year. It's just what we were doing this year. I picked up Veilguard at the end of last year when it came out, and it took me a couple of months to get through it because I was really exploring all the nooks and crannies. It was not a perfect continuation of the Dragon Age franchise.
But that's too high a bar to ask.
After a decade, yeah, definitely. It was good. I got to revisit a lot of characters I loved. I got to meet a lot of new characters that were really fun. The gameplay was exactly what I want out of something. It's not too complex. It's not too simple. It's really customizable. It's snappy. And the controls feel comfortable in my hands. What the hell more can you ask for? What about you, Robot? What was your video game nonsense?
This year was a lot of playing games I'd played in the past. Most of my big gaming experiences this year were games I've already beaten many, many years ago. Things like Knights of the Old Republic 2, or the thing that got my honorable mention slot, Fallout New Vegas.
And why did you start playing Fallout New Vegas again?
Well, I started playing Fallout New Vegas again for two reasons. One, Season 2 of the Fallout show is taking place in New Vegas, and I'm excited for that. And two, this fool dared me to.
It's been a rough gaming year for me. I'm learning a lot about myself, some changes I've gone through, and catching up with who I am in the aftermath. From years ago, don't you worry about me. But, so I was trying to play Fallout New Vegas again because I never finished it. extremely close to the end, but I just never, I took a long break on accident, and by the time I got back, I forgot what was going on, who anybody was, and this was in a younger internet, so it was a little harder to keep track of that kind of thing without just spoiling myself. So I tried to play it, and it's old.
He's right, it is. But it's still good, y'all. If you are... Look, is the gameplay good? Yes. Is the gunplay good? I wouldn't say so, but that's such a minor aspect of the gameplay of this game.
I find fault with the moving around play, too.
Nah, it's fine. But it's, much has been said on the internet about Fallout New Vegas. Many, many, many people consider it to be the best Fallout game ever made. I also am one of those people, and that's helpful for me wanting to replay it. But it's not the one that won. The one that won is I started playing Diablo 2. I had considered this before, but the only Diablo 2 that was easily acquirable was a remaster that they were charging $60 American for. It's Diablo 2. That's not an okay thing to charge that much for at this point. But eventually I got it on sale for like $14, and then I proceeded to beat it like 4 times.
If that's not a glowing recommendation, I don't know what is. It
is. So there's that particular genre of game, so isometric, the loot-based action RPG, that has that particular PC interface of click and move. All of them since Diablo 2 have been trying to recapture the magic of Diablo 2. Very much including Diablo 3, and I understand 4 is actually going its own way and is benefiting thereby. But all of the other big ones, Path of Exile, all those, Marvel Heroes back in the day, were trying to recapture the magic of the interactions in this game. None of them managed it as cleanly. Diablo 2 is such a perfect Skinner box of a game.
I have it on good authority that I would not enjoy it as much because there aren't enough buttons. But
the authority is me. There are many reasons I do not think he'd enjoy Diablo 2. I have advised he not play it.
That's okay. Anything else to say about Diablo 2 before we move on to the movie of the year?
Playing it in no way makes me want to play the later ones. I just want to keep playing that one.
All right, why don't you take us off here? What's your honorable mention for the movie of 2025?
I have 2. This was actually a really tight race. All 3 of these could have easily taken the number 1 spot. I'm going to be completely honest. But at the end of the day, looking at all 3, I wrote all 3 down in the honorable mentions column and then picked one for the main. So the first honorable mention is Fantastic Four: First Steps. I have crowed so long on this podcast for years, nigh on a decade. You can go back and listen to how much I wanted a good Fantastic Four movie. Not one that's campy fun like the originals, like the Fox movies were, because they were fun. But one that respects the actual things I love about the characters, about the Fantastic Four. And First Steps delivered. It delivered in a huge way. And that could make it my favorite movie of the year. But it is edged out slightly by my next honorable mention, Superman, which is, by God, it's a breath of fresh air. It is, after many, many years of edgy Superman clone being the fictional arc du jour of your Homelanders and your Injustices and your, I think Brightburn is another one of those, and there's like 9 more of these motherfuckers. It's nice to just see Clark being himself. Very much, seemingly inspired by arcs of the Superman comics I love a lot. And I will get into more of this on a later podcast.
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed it. The winner, however, was Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts is, there are people who say that modern Marvel movies have fallen off since Endgame. Those are people who have not left their spirits open to enjoy something new. Thunderbolts is a wonderful movie. Again, I'll get into more details when we get to that podcast.
We also did a podcast on all three of the movies you're talking about.
Yes.
So if you want to go back, it's from this year.
Thunderbolts is a wonderful movie. It is a wonderful meditation on stuff that superhero comics cover a fair amount, but the superhero movies don't cover as much, and I really enjoyed it. What about you, sir? What were your big movies this year?
My honorable mention is also Fantastic Four: First Steps. It was exactly what I wanted out of comic book movies when they started making comic book movies. I'm not a big Fantastic Four fan, so I didn't go into this like, oh man, I'm so excited for my heroes. But I still really enjoyed it, and I had a lot of fun watching it, and I think it was just a well-made film. Superman didn't rate as high for me because the first half of it was a little rough for me personally. It failed to buy me in. I like the second half. And Thunderbolts was also really good, but I don't know, it was missing something for me. And part of me was just surprised that everyone loved it as much as they did when it wasn't all that different from a lot of the films they said sucked.
That'd be like that sometimes.
It sure do. But I have two for the top movie, and that is because I began and ended the year with these films. So recency bias is a factor, and I cannot, in good conscience, kick the other movie out. Mm-hmm. Because we need to do this podcast before halfway into next year when I feel like I'd be able to make a better call. So my dual movies of 2025 were a Minecraft movie and K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah. Well, we both watched a Minecraft movie and did a podcast on it, I believe.
We sure did.
So what about K-pop Demon Hunters? I have long avoided this movie. Why?
Yes.
Why was it so good?
It did a lot of tropes that can be annoying. Not a lot. It did a few tropes that can be annoying with aplomb. It's nice to see those tropes done well. And I would say that's its low point, that it was using those tropes at all. It's a trio of heroes who have strong personalities. It, in that way, gives some Ninja Turtles vibes. So it's sort of, predisposed. I'm predisposed toward enjoying it. The action scenes were really cool. All the animation was really fresh. The jokes were really funny. The music is really awesome. It's a nice story. It's got a really good message for people young and old. I don't know, man. What's a movie supposed to do? It did all the stuff.
Fair enough.
I was really blown away by it. I was expecting hype backlash, and I did not have any of it. This is the most popular movie among people who aren't trying really hard to be gritty, angry adults of 2025. So it is both perhaps expected and unexpected that it's my most popular movie of 2025. If you'll excuse me for just a second, you're about to hear a weird noise. There it was. That was the weird noise. Anyway, let's move on to TV shows, unless you had something else you wanted to say.
No, I think we're good.
We did a full podcast on the Minecraft movie. I don't have to go back into that. My runner-up for TV show of 2025 was Peacemaker Season 2. I don't think it was as strong as Peacemaker Season 1, which was an incredible piece of television that somehow didn't get my show of the year. Oh, no, there it was in 2022. But it was still really, really good. But edging it out just slightly because of the fun factor was the second season of Twisted Metal. We didn't do a full podcast on that, but we both watched it. We both enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think it was more Twisted Metal-y than last season.
Significantly more Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal actually happens.
I wish there was a TV show I liked more. It would have actually been entirely possible to unseat Twisted Metal because the first couple episodes kind of suck.
The first couple episodes of Twisted Metal Season 2 really suck. They're bad. The rest of the show is good, though, so it balances out.
And I watched a lot of TV this year, but those are the ones that stood out most to me. What about you?
My honorable mention goes also to Twisted Metal for pretty much all the reasons you listed. It feels more like the games, it's still really fun, and it overcomes a really rocky start to be something that was really enjoyable.
That reminds me of the Disney rule. Why that when you lose like a souvenir on a ride or drop your Mickey ice cream bar, the employees are instructed to immediately just give you a fresh one. because an error corrected is better than an error that never happened.
I mean, yeah, that's just how human psychology works.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't watch nearly as much TV as this guy did this year. We'll get to that in a bit. But I feel like it would not have been difficult to unseat either of these, either my honorable mention or my favorite thing of the year, my favorite TV show or web show of the year. Just nothing did. In fact, we just recently finished watching something that I was pretty sure was going to end up on this list, and it didn't. I'll just say that. But my show of the year is Campaign 4 of Critical Role. They changed to Brennan Lee Mulligan as a DM to give Matt Mercer time to play a long-form campaign, which he has not had in like 20 years. Good for them. I really like Brennan as a DM. I've liked him for many years on Dropout as DM of Dimension 20, which I've mentioned before on this. If you just watched the Year in Review podcast for some reason, you'll have heard that before. I do find it funny that I want to see, as the campaign goes on, how much is him settling into the role, how much is, dear Lord, how much do they edit the words you see and
In this place.
out of Dimension 20.
It's become a tick of mine while I'm DMing just to razz the guy a little bit. I have to be careful, though. I don't want them to become my filler words.
It's, I still have him as a DM, but he absolutely has some ticks that I'm curious to see if they're edited out or if he's just still a little nervous.
I mean, Mercer also has. That man doesn't know how to call anything but an entity.
It's one of those things where if you just watch someone talk for dozens and dozens of hours unscripted off the cuff, you'll probably pick up on verbal tics of theirs, as I'm sure you guys have for us.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
But I think it's a really fun approach to a big campaign with just way too many players. Just way too many players, but they want to give everyone screen time. They want to get the main cast on there, but still introduce new people, because it's very clear these, the main people from Critical Role probably want to do something else with their life at some point. So they're setting the groundwork now so that the show can continue after them. I think that's really nice, and they've done a good job. Seeding that ground so you can already like all these other people when they take a step back. I think that's good. And I'm really enjoying watching it. It is the first long form, non-edited, because normally I've only really clicked Dropout, which is heavily edited. Long form, not edited, a live actual play thing I've ever really attached to. And I look forward to episodes every week, and I watch them as soon as they come out, and it got me to buy Beacon. So fuck it, A+. Like, you really can't do better than get me to spend money on you.
There's so many jokes there I just had to swallow. So it's fun that your favorite show, your favorite web show of the year, is a tabletop role-playing show, because our next category is TTRPG character, and this is very self-indulgent because it's the character we played, either as a player character and a non-player character, and because we both do a lot of game mastering. But it gives us an opportunity to share with you guys a little bit what we've been doing with our year. We used to have more to choose from, but we have settled into two really solid groups, so all of our campaigns last like 9 months.
So there's only really one choice for a player character, and I forgot that we actually can do character we DM'd, so I have one. I'd like to go second, though. What was your character of the year?
Oh, you're going to go second on this one. Okay. My character of the year was Gwillem Nasidius, better known as Gwillem the Foe. There's a pun in there. I have always wanted to play the Green Goblin in a tabletop role-playing game, but that can be hard because, he's a villain. And a lot of times what your characters are doing is heroic, or at least would be disrupted by somebody who's causing that kind of chaos. So a year or two ago, maybe longer, I ran a campaign where I had the villain be the Green Goblin in his origin story, because I figured that's all I was going to get. Not so. I was set up to play a formerly evil overlord who had lost his mind to corruption and died and been implanted in a suit of armor, which is a thing that can happen in my tabletop role-playing game, Wizards in Whites. Check us out at the Patreon. And I had the character done. We were just shopping for a name, and we were looking at the G's, and the name Gwillem popped up.
And I said, I was reading off the names, and I said Gwillem, and he was the one who originally said Gwillem the Foe, at which point only fate could reach down and touched us with its golden finger and decided Gwillem the Foe was going to be what he played.
In case you aren't aware, it's a reference to actor Willem Dafoe, who quite legendarily played the Green Goblin in the Spider-Man movies and did a wonderful job, and whose accent and mannerisms and vocalizations I bit for my character. It wasn't a one-to-one comparison. He did have an old criminal gang he was kind of interacting with while the city fell down around him from a new magical outside threat. He was trying to be better while indulging his baser instincts. He made best friends with the Kingpin.
And I think that's a good segue into my honorable mention. That's not on this list because I forgot that we could do DMing characters. I've said this many times. In terms of creative endeavor, I only really create things for my friends. So I don't have to be subtle. My favorite character NPC I played this year is Wilson Fisk.
And thanks, Vincent D'Onofrio, for opening up this wonderful version of Kingpin for us to steal.
I did steal him. I put him in a fantasy version of New York. It's a joy and a delight to completely rip something off.
If we did actual play, and we don't, and there's a reason we don't, you guys would ship Gwillem and Wilson Fisk so fucking hard. None of that was going on, but man, the bromance was thick. I don't think I've ever had an NPC. I know I've had a couple for you where you were like, yeah, this is my ride or die. I don't know that I've ever had an NPC that I was that strongly connected to. And I've dated a couple of NPCs.
Like, it was incredibly fun to play a version of that character who I was able to change just enough of his personality to make him work as a supporting NPC rather than an antagonist. And it worked gangbusters. My honorable mention for player characters is Mir. He is golem bound, that thing he mentioned, having your soul bonded to a suit of armor, and he's just a cool undead hunter guy. I've just started playing him recently, but I'm having fun. My main character of note this year was Gravois Delacroix. Again, I'm not subtle. I played fucking Gambit.
It was a fun version of Gambit. I was running a Final Fantasy VI campaign. The campaign fell apart poorly at the halfway mark, but I landed the plane, or the airship if you'd prefer. And we set up an extended arc that kind of bit the Final Fantasy VII Remake section of Wall Market. And made that the Quarter, which is a place established in Wizards and Whites. Check out the Patreon. And Gravois was from there, and we set up a lot of Thieves Guild stuff, a lot of stuff with Rogue, and et cetera, et cetera.
I wanted to play Gambit. So, more accurately, I wanted to play an expert, one of the classes available in Wizards and Whites. Check out the Patreon. And I looked through the various different types, and I read the monk, and I was like, that's Gambit. I could play Gambit. So I did. You can also play an Avatar or I want to be
Super Saiyan.
Yeah, there's lots of
Street Fighter.
There's so many different options. Mm-hmm. But I want to be clear. I played Gambit mixed with Locke from Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah, a little bit.
So he was also kind of sad. But Gambit is a
sad boy.
Gambit is a bit of a sad boy. Look, the stuff that's implied by I played Gambit. I did all that stuff. It was great. It was fun. I had a great time.
And 2025 was kind of the year of Gambit.
Yeah, Gambit was big. My boy finally got his props.
I love Gambit too. I just didn't play him in a TTRPG. So what about the surprise of the year? Something we also call the I Was Wrong Award. What do you have there?
Well, I have an honorable mention that is a joke, because normally this is a positive thing,
Not always.
but not always.
CM Punk still sucks.
My honorable mention is the shitty surprise of the year. I trusted John Moxley to tell a coherent, complete story. That was a fucking mistake. Moving on, my actual winner of the I Was Wrong Award was a Minecraft movie. I dreaded this. My friend wanted to go, and another friend thought it would be funny, and that guy never goes to the movies. So I agreed to go with them. I figured it would be a good podcast. I figured it would be complete and utter hot trash garbage. And I was right about that. What I neglected to consider was that might be exactly what I wanted it to be without knowing. And it was. A Minecraft movie was peak. We did a podcast on it. Go listen to that.
Yeah.
I was so wrong.
My surprise of the year, I was told, my I Was Wrong Award, that this had to be the case, and I have to agree, was The Rizzler. The child internet personality. I don't like children in general. There are exceptions, but for the most part, I'm not a fan of children. So I never really got into his content until he started hovering around AEW, next to Big Boom AJ and Big Justice. Who adopted him or something. I didn't care for him at first because he's the most childy of them all. But the longer I looked at his little face and saw how exhausted he is, and then would catch like little clips of him just doing his best and having a fun time, you know what? I stand corrected. If the Rizzler can do it, I can do it. That is the youngest 40-year-old I have ever seen. As I turn 40 this year,
He's really going.
I'm rooting for him. You know what? Maybe someday he'll, blow up and say some really mean things. Oh gosh, in 20 years about cyborgs that I won't agree with. But for now, he is a beacon of hope going forward into 2026. Activity of the year, the thing we did the most, is usually the metric by which we judge this. This was the last one I filled in. I don't know why I couldn't, because I've listened to a lot of podcasts this year. I actually did a lot of reading and audiobooks this year. I'm very proud of that because I didn't read for a long time. I used to love to read as a kid, and being able to fall back into it this year was really awesome. I mentioned earlier I did walking, but that was only, a couple times a week for about half an hour or so. That's definitely not the thing I did the most this year. Duh. It's Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, it's Marvel.
I played so much Marvel Rivals.
You did.
Not as much, I don't think, as I played Warframe last year, but still a lot of Marvel Rivals. I think it's a solid game. I don't like the casual people who don't respect the game. This is a poison League of Legends instilled in me back when they had the Summoner's Code. I take it seriously, and not as in like everything is sweaty hour, as in, come on, man, quit fucking around. Could you just play? Could you just do your best? That's all I want. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. I think there's lots of cool stuff coming in the next year. Marvel Rivals, thing I did the most this year. How about you, my boon companion?
Well, this year it's pretty short and sweet for me. It's the winner of thing I did the most this year for what had to be like 3 years running back in the day. And the thing in the honorable mentions just swapped places. I watched less Dropout and more YouTube.
Hey, a man likes what he likes,
Yep. Dropout fell off a little bit. I fell off. I stopped watching not most recent, but the Dimension 20 series that came out in the middle of this year, Cloudward Ho. I stopped watching that about halfway through. It was good. I was enjoying it, but so Brian Murphy, his comedic bit is the poop shoot. Like, he is comedically the poop shoot in his both his characters and his friend group. That's the bit they all like to do. That becomes tiring for me at a certain point. And there came a point where that became tiring and I stopped watching.
Valid. If you're tired of us being the collective poop shoot, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
And don't stop watching. Never stop watching.
Full retention. YouTube is such a panoply of different offerings. It is the streaming service I am most happy to pay money for. there's just always something. You can just go to the berry bush, and there's always new berries to pluck and eat, and that's great. That's just really pleasant.
We're on different internets, but I'm glad for you. Next is the anthem of the year, or the song of the year, however you want to look at it. What were your results, my guy?
So this was a study in contrasts. We try not to be political on the Tuner podcast. It's something we endeavor to do because there's enough of that in the world. There's enough of the screeching in your ears. We can be a place where it's not that. But I have to be honest. And I don't really need to get into details. My selections will get into details for me. I was torn between... I was torn when selecting this list on the kind of man I want to be, as it were. And so my honorable mentions are songs by the band Moonwalker, Monopoly Money, and Happy Face. Feel free to take a listen. I don't think it will be very hard to discern what I mean. But my song of the year is a song by a folk singer.
A Man in a Field.
Who has blown up this year. They say that in tumultuous times, great art gets made and great artists come to the fore. I'm calling my shot. This is one of them. Jesse Wells. The song is A Friend Song. I encourage you to listen to a bunch of his music. He has blown up in this year. He deserves it. And I am calling my shot. He will be around for a while.
I listened to some of Jesse Wells' music a couple years ago, back when I was more into TikTok. He was somebody I followed for a while, and I endorsed that message. I think he's got a good soul. Less seriously, I will say also, the reason, it's not hard to discern our political leanings at all. That's not why we don't talk about it. I don't like drowning your entertainment in politics, because I myself don't like it when people I'm watching go real deep into politics. Unless you're a political channel, I didn't come here for that.
This, like I said, this can be something else. This place can be a refuge from the screeching.
Mm-hmm. Even if I agree entirely with your screeching, I don't want, if I'm in the middle of enjoying a pizza, I don't want to go to take a bite of that pizza and it's a ho-ho now.
I'm going to be honest. A lot of times, someone being really annoying about something I completely agree with them about is less enjoyable to me than someone being at least not annoying about something I disagree with them about.
Now, all that said, my choices have nothing to do with that. My honorable mentions were The Village People, Sex Over the Phone, which may be one of the perfect songs of all time. I recommend watching it with the video. And Baby No Money's Check. I've gotten really into Baby No Money in the last 13 months. I think Check was probably the best, although 1-800 was also really good. And actually, the Baby No Money song was the one for my song of the year. This came out quite a few years back, but it had been coming up on my Spotify a lot. And then I watched Peacemaker Season 2.
I knew that's what did it.
It just put it over the edge and reminded me and made me realize that this is not only Song of the Year in terms of, I listen to this song a lot, but this is the song of this year. That is Foxy Shazam's Oh Lord. Foxy Shazam is a band I got turned on to by a friend of mine. Well, a former friend of mine. He ghosted me. I'm not saying that up for misery points. Just a matter of case. I don't want to misspeak. And then they went on hiatus. They broke up, basically. And then lo and behold, they came back and were making music again. And then lo and behold, James Gunn, who has some sort of tap into my brain, for a long time, he secreted Rob Zombie in all of his films. Now he goes, oh, Foxy Shazam? Yes, they're the greatest modern rock band. They're everything you want in a rock band. I didn't realize they were the Peacemaker Season 2 theme until a little bit before I started watching the show. And I watched it just about a month ago. So, I was out of the loop. But I did see that they were, in part, the Mighty Crabjoys in the Superman movie. And I think they had a song in the Superman movie. And I was like, wow, that's really neat. James Gunn and me, man, I don't know what it is. He gets what I like. But yeah, I say give the song a listen. Yeah.
I will. I also have been meaning to watch Peacemaker Season 2.
I recommend it. Just temper your expectations. It's nowhere near as good as Season 1. But there's a lot of funny shit in there. Wrestling event of the year for me, I don't remember what was on this card. I just know I agree there hasn't been one since I wrote this down, was AEW All Out. I had an unequivocal good time. The best time with a wrestling event that I've had this year.
Mine are pretty simple. They are both based around one single match. My honorable mention is AEW Revolution, because that's the show the Hollywood ending was on. And my show of the year is All in Texas, because that's where the heart and soul of AEW triumphed.
Good shout, man. Moving into Wrestler of the Year. We didn't have it for a long time, and then we brought it back. This is, of course, Wrestler of the Year who is not MJF. So that the boy picks something different.
That is why. Yes.
Who were your Wrestlers of the Year, my friend?
So, I need to address something. Last year, I fucking snubbed someone on accident.
I did too.
I snubbed the person who won my Wrestler of the Year this year. Part of the reason they won this year, even though some people think that particular wrestler has maybe fallen off a little, is a makeup award for snubbing them undeservedly. But I will say they still earn the slot. Now, to my honorable mentions, Will Ospreay, again, the wrestler designed in a lab for me to love. One day you will win. I promise, Willie boy. One day you will win. But you just have to get over that last threshold of delicious story and character work. The other honorable mention is Hangman Adam Page, the heart and soul of AEW, the protagonist of AEW in a real way. Hanger is a king. I mean that in many senses of the word. And he will probably be one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But the winner is Tony Storm. Tony Storm, I didn't even put on my honorable mentions last year. It just slipped my mind.
Spaced.
It just slipped my mind. Unbelievable, undeserved snub. And this year, the Hollywood ending happened. So she had this award locked down in January, and it hasn't moved one iota since. Tony Storm is the best wrestler working today whose name isn't MJF.
She is my honorable mention because I am the people he was talking about earlier that think she fell off a little bit. The last leg of her title reign was just her coming out to the ring and making a bunch of sex puns. And they were funny sex puns, but it got old. However, I snubbed her last year, so she does have to make the cut. So yes, Tony Storm, incredible talent, should have been Wrestler of the Year last year for both of us. Mea culpa. My actual wrestler of this year is Jack Perry. He hasn't done a lot, but he has managed to be the most entertaining thing I've seen on the screen, the person I can rely on to deliver me something I want to watch.
He is the scapegoat for a reason.
Yeah, I really, really enjoy him, and I'm glad he's back and doing cool stuff. We finish with Podcast of the Year. That's not other podcasts. That's our podcast. If you want to watch an episode and you miss one of these, this is your recommendation from us. And of course, I have to suggest the B movie.
Oh.
You wouldn't believe what a good podcast it is. If you really want to get behind a fella, Black and Yellow, you should go back and check out our podcast on the B movie. It's an okay movie. Not the best. Not Midland. I'd give it a B. What are your podcast choices?
You bitch. I have to say this because I have to be honest. The further I get from watching the B movie, the fonder I am of the B movie.
All right, so in that spirit, would you downgrade what you just called me a bitch into like a biatch?
Never. My actual honorable mentions are Cold Hearts. It was a fascinating look into another side of the world and a fun departure from our normal things.
And it did open us into playing more video games,
which has been great.
Yeah, it's been fun.
2025 Video Game Awards. That was just a combination of like hope rewarded and a good time with my friends.
Yeah.
and it's just a fun podcast to record.
Guys, unless you're shitheads, come join us in the Discord.
But the winner is Miami Rhapsody, The Ballad of Omar Epps. One of the episodes of Two Nerds Don't Go to the Movies. I know, look, I can tell from the view numbers. I know you guys don't like Two Nerds Don't Go to the Movies. I don't give a shit. It's really fun to record.
I think the new version is really solid. In fact, I will slot in now my honorable mention, whatever the most recent Two Nerds Don't Go to the Movies was, where we had the tier list added on there. Because I think the new formula really adds something to it that it was missing. It's really refreshed it. And I am now looking forward to recording more Two Nerds Don't Go to the Movies in that vein.
I am in general looking forward to continuing this long-running podcast that has been going longer than most podcasts that are much more successful than us. I've been on YouTube the whole time as much more successful podcasts solely migrate to our platform where we started.
We are the longest running podcast called the Two Nerds Podcast, actually.
Which is an incredibly simple name that you think someone would have taken before us. No, many people did after because they didn't Google.
Someday, Krendor, someday I'll meet you and go, you fucker.
You thief. But
I hope he doesn't care. I hope he doesn't apologize.
No, he shouldn't.
No.
But this was the parts of the year we discussed on this podcast were fun. This year will fucking sucked, and I'm glad it's over.